So high school was an interesting time for me. The first 2 years, I went to a regular school, and then my second 2 years, I went to a career tech school. At this career tech school, make a lot of friends, find out who I was, who I am, and kind of who I'm going to be. And so I met a lot of friends, and through one of a mutual friend, I was able to meet Mrs. Tegmeyer. Now, Mrs. Tegmeyer was the woman I guess I aspired to be. She was loving, caring. She didn't judge, and she showed up for me. How she showed up for me was she took me to a youth group that she owned. We would go there every Wednesday, about every week, every Wednesday. And then she invited me out to this multicultural celebration for the school. And so I got to showcase all of my talents, and I was super excited, and then lunchtime came. So me and Mrs. Tegmeyer always talked in very deep conversations. It always happened very quickly, and this conversation usually revolved around religion and being gay. So I grew up in a religious household, and I was like, okay, so being gay, you're going to hell, and so I need to save you. Okay, that was my philosophy growing up. And so I would go to Mrs. Tegmeyer and be like, hey, I have somebody else that I need to save. Please help me. Now, Mrs. Tegmeyer had a very different viewpoint. But she showed up and she sat down and she listened to me. And that forever changed my life, because that day during lunch, I was like, Mrs. Tegmeyer, I have somebody else that needs saved. But this was different, so I kind of explained to her, yeah, she's a girl, she grew up religious, blah, 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 blah. And this time, she's asked, can I ask who that is? And at this moment, I was sweating bullets. Now, I sweat like a dude when I work out, anything, like I sweat like a dude, so I'm like profusely sweating. My heart is racing, it's beating out of my chest, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to tell her. Oh. And like, feels like 20 minutes go by, but it was honestly like 7 to 10 seconds. And then I was like, it's me. And at that moment, I just felt like a weight was lifted. Now, fast forward, I graduate high school, go off to college, stay in that religious realm because, that's like my security. And then I kind of hung out with a gay community as well because I wanted to figure out who I thought I was. And so all of this happened, and then I decided, why not run away from all my problems and join the military? Like, that's what we do, right? And so I joined the military, and then I don't know, I still stayed in that religious mindset, but then I was going towards the gay community like, oh, maybe I like this a lot better. Maybe this is really who I am. And so when that happened, I went out to prove the religious community wrong. And so one day I walked in to a church. It was my last ditch, my last effort. Walked into a church. I had my cargo shorts on that were like 3 times the size too big for me because I thought I wanted to look cool like that. And I had on my pride shirt from Cologne in Germany, and my hair was like a faux hawk. It was kind of like reddish. I tried to dye it red, but it actually looked orange, like the color of the leaves, because I didn't know how to dye hair. And when I walked into that church, I was like, I'm going to prove you wrong, and I'm gay, and you hate me, and the end. But I walked in there, and I was met with love and compassion, and they showed up. And as soon as that happened, I was like, that's Mrs. Tegmeyer. That was the Mrs. Tegmeyer that I was looking for in the religious community. And now today, I found that religion is no more. For me, I talk to my higher power, God, who I choose to call God, and I'm able to live a life that I love, saying, this is who I am, and this is how I want to help my community by bridging that gap between the gay community and the church, and I want to be that Mrs. Tegmeyer for somebody who she was for me.